Rising Bees, and welcome back to Sit-ins with Sid. I do want to tell you guys that, I do apologize for my nasally sounding. If I do sound nasally, I am not feeling very well, but this YouTube stuff got to get done, It got to get done, videos got to get out, and I appreciate talking to you guys, especially about, my spiritual journey. And if you guys are also going on your spiritual journey, you found yourself in the right place, because, there's a lot of things. And like I said, my spiritual journey is a trial and error. So I just wanted to share that experience with you guys. So, with that being said, I hope you all are being very kind to yourself. I hope that, you're being patient with yourself, because, it's easy during this spiritual journey to get sidetracked or get impatient or feel like, no change is coming, or you just feel like, all the stuff that you're reading about and searching and even implementing in your life is just not working. You're just like, am I just doing this just to keep pissing myself off? And sometimes that is how you may feel, but I'm here to tell you, patience is everything. And if you have been following me for a while, you know that I always talk about how it's trial and error and how much I cry and how much, it's just like, sometimes I feel like I know what I'm doing, and sometimes I am absolutely lost and I'm just going with the flow of things. And, sometimes I curl up in a ball and wonder, what is life? I ask myself that daily. But like I said, this spiritual journey is all about self-growth and self-love. And one thing that I learned, I've tried many different things throughout this spiritual journey. And one of the things that I have tried is writing letters to myself. And, I've wrote letters to my previous self, to my current self, and my future self. And honestly, it really helps because it kind of, it highlights the great things that you have done, and it also highlights the bad things that you have done. But just because, you've done bad things in your life doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing. So that leads us into the first letter that I wrote to myself during this spiritual journey, and that is to my previous self. So when people tend to think about the previous self, they tend to think like, oh, that's the past. I don't want to think about it. I've overcome so much. It's so bad. I've messed up so many times in the past. And you may have. I've messed up so many times in the past. I just don't even understand how I'm functioning as a human being right now. But previous self is not a negative thing, because if you did watch my shadow working video, you realize that in order to feel whole and to love yourself unconditionally, you have to accept all parts of yourself. And with the previous self, it's like, yeah, maybe you made a left turn somewhere, maybe you were being impatient and just went for something and it just blew up in your face. Maybe you were hanging around with the wrong crowds of people. Maybe you were just trying to just do things to take the easy way out. Whatever the case may be, those things have shaped you into who you are, because you wouldn't do half the things and you wouldn't have the knowledge that you have now if you never made those mistakes. So like I said, everything happens for a reason, and those past mistakes are looked as they should be cherished. They should be like, oh wow, I'm glad that I experienced that. Maybe I hate it. Maybe I don't ever want to think about it, but, we discredit things that we're not very proud of. But if it weren't for those things that we aren't proud of, then we would not be the people that we are today. And we may not even have the mindset that we want to build for the future. So yeah. So the next one is our current self. And the current self is, in the here and now. Living our life today, living in the moment, understand the moment that we are living in. And the way that we are living right now is based off of things that we have done in the past. We tread lightly. We, we see, sometimes we see other people, especially on social media. I do this myself all the time. So I'm not gonna act like I don't. And I see like, wow, like so many people are so far in their life, like, oh my God, they're doing great things, they're making money, they're traveling, they're happy. And I just ask myself, like, how can I get to that point? And you know, comparison right there is the devil, because you start comparing yourself to people who are all on different paths. We're all on different paths of life. And you know, you are where you are supposed to be. And you have to understand that one person that you may see traveling and stuff like that, you don't know what it took for them to get there. And I know that sounds so cliche because you hear that so many times, but it's the truth. Like, I look at people and I'm like, wow, you know, I see people that, you know, I went to high school with, that I went to college with, and they're doing great things. I've seen them start businesses from the beginning, and now, you know, people are starting to recognize their work. And I'm talking like people that are famous and people that we watch on TV, people that we look up to. And it's nice to see, like, dang, like, I actually watched your business grow. And I know it was struggling in the beginning, not so much struggling, but it's hard to market yourself. And, you know, you just have to keep that in the back of your mind of like, how can I live on the here and now? How can I better myself today? How can I be better than I was last week? How can I be better than I was 2 days ago, you know? So just living in the here and now and actually focus on what you're doing. Definitely, you know, that letter should highlight that. Like, I'm so proud of what you did. I'm so proud that you came far from yesterday, because yesterday you may have had a bad day. So, you know, applaud the person you are and applaud the decisions that you're making right now. Because, you know, we always want to give ourselves a pat on the back, and we always want to see our growth within ourselves. And, you know, sometimes you have to acknowledge that. And if you don't acknowledge that like out loud, then a letter is the place to do it, because you can let everything out, not sugarcoat it, you know, and just actually get the juices flowing in your mind of how you've came so far. And you know, everybody wants to know that they're better than they were yesterday. And that leads to the third, which is our future self. You know, with your future self, I always tell people, don't look too far in the future. But since we're talking about a letter, when writing this future letter, you talk like this has already happened, that you have already manifested that in your life. You know, these are, the letter to your future self is the ideas that you have now. So like, say he's like, oh, well, like, I want to be a lawyer and I want to live in this house and I want to have a family. You're writing to yourself like, hey, for instance, we're going to use me, like, hey, Sid, like, so proud of you that, you know, you got this job at a law firm, and, you know, you have this house in Houston or something like that, wherever you want to be, but you talk like it has already happened for you. And once you start talking like things have already happened for you, you start to manifest everything in your life. And what you have to realize is your words and your thoughts, what you say, what you speak, what you think is all, it affects how you live your life. So if you think negatively, then negative things are going to happen to you. If you think positive, some people may say like, oh, well, like, I'm lying to myself. No, you're speaking something into existence that hasn't happened yet, but it will happen. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to keep manifesting. You have to keep believing. If you don't believe in yourself, then it will never come true, and you will never reach that point of success in your eyes or happiness in your eyes. So, you know, I found writing those letters to all three parts of myself has me thinking, you know, it has me living in the moment of being in the past. It has me living in the moment of the here and now, and it has me living in the moment of what I want for myself to come. So, you know, if that's something you're interested in, definitely give it a try. Say what you want, say what you feel. And then once you read them back to yourself, you'd be like, wow, like, I actually accomplished more than I actually thought. And, you know, it makes you feel good about yourself, in my eyes. But, you know, also I realized, you know, in this letter that you send to yourself, you know, it seeks growth. It seeks self-love, and you can just see the feelings and the emotions that you put behind it, because once you find yourself writing, you could write three pages and then you'd be like, dang, like I really had a lot to say about this part. But in each letter, you should always state that, you know, you are proud of yourself, and that you're better than you were last year. You're better than you were 2 days ago, last week, last month, 2 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, whatever it is. And like I tell you guys in every video, I hope that you are being patient with yourself and, you know, allowing yourself to make mistakes. Life is supposed to be an enjoyable moment, and each moment is very memorable. So with that being said, you know what I'm about to say. See ya.